hours after a roadside bomb killed 7 members of a family in Lagman province, also in eastern Afghanistan. The Taliban, who are fighting the government and foreign troops, have repeatedly said they do not target civilians, but their attacks often kill non-combatants. Fears are mounting of the Syrian conflict spilling over into neighboring countries like Lebanon, where 6 people were killed and 38 wounded in 24 hours in the second biggest city, Tripoli, during clashes between pro- and anti-Bashir al-Assad Alawite and Sunni residents. These latest confrontations occurred after a brief lull in the violence between the two sides. A flare-up last month left 31 people dead and more than 200 wounded. More than 60 countries signed a landmark conventional weapons trade treaty Monday, but the United States held back from joining the first wave of signatories. Russia and China are not expected to sign anytime soon. The UN-brokered treaty is the first covering arms of any kind for more than a decade. The goal is to bring transparency and human rights protection into the often dubious $85 billion a year global trade. 50 ratifications are needed for the treaty to come into force. The Museum of European and Mediterranean Civilizations was inaugurated in Marseille Tuesday. The square building, which took 4 years to build and faces the sea, was designed by French architect Rudy Ricciotti. The museum is both cultural and scientific and includes fields like anthropology, sociology, history, and art. It will provide a platform for the plurality of civilizations that make up the Mediterranean world from prehistory to today. The new museum opens to the public on June 7th and hopes to attract over 300,000 visitors per year.
We'll take another short break. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back, and I have in the studio with me Fatou Jassi for the sports. Fatou Jassi, what do you have for us?
Thank you, Fofana. I didn't watch the bout. I spent that time at the beach with some friends. Helen Zainab Maroon, wife of Balagay, the wrestling champion, tells Grts Sports. Helen Zainab was speaking to Grts TV shortly after her husband claimed another famous victory over Tafatin in Sunday's grand bout at the Stade Demba Diop. Here's an excerpt.
The fight because I just couldn't. I was at the beach. Yeah, I went to the beach. Now that he has won, what do you have to tell your fans and perhaps your husband? I would like to thank all my fans and all his fans because they have been great. I mean, what they go through is really hard, is really painful, all because of Balagay. And I'm so grateful to them, saying thank you to everyone, especially the fans from Bako, Tekololi, and everywhere in the Gambia. I'm really happy for everyone. Name everyone. And thanking everyone that was here and that is here right now to celebrate my husband's victory. I'm so happy.
Well, that was all in sports. Back to you, Farmer.
Okay, thank you very much, Fatou Jassi. Over now to the top of the news. Well, I'm afraid we'll take another short break. We'll be back. Fatou Jassi, by the way, did you watch that bout between Balagay and Tafatin?
Oh, yes, I did.
Okay. Which camp were you?
Balagay.
Balagay, why?
No, just because he's a Manika.
Okay. Well, I'm afraid we draw the curtains on this edition of news, but before we go, a reminder of our top stories. President Jammeh has called on Japanese businesses to explore investment opportunities in Gambia's economy, promising them the same protection as they would find in Japan. Vice President Aja Dr. Esatun Sedi has held talks with members of the Gambia Women's Federation France chapter at State House. Malian army has amassed troops around the town of Kidal to deal with MNLA rebels who continue to terrorize the civilian population. And in Afghanistan, a suspected suicide bomber has killed 2 foreign soldiers and 10 students as the Taliban continues its fight against NATO and Afghan forces. Well, that's all in this edition of news. Stay tuned to GRTs and enjoy our program. Meanwhile, join us at 10 p.m. for another newscast. Until then, from me and the rest of the news team, have a nice evening.
Discover the smiling coast of Africa.
Mama Jey dimanche bu nekk ci GRTS ci juróom-ñaari waxtu yee genn wàll ci ngoon ba ci juróom-ñetti waxtu yi jamono ji programme bu xew te ànd ak jamono